podcast. That's the intro we're going with, Gary. Galactic Legends Leia, General Pride, Night Brothers, and Darth Maul. When's the free-to-play farming guide coming? All this and likely a very useless video of me just wanting to talk about a variety of stuff I see you guys asking about. Here's all the topics that we have for today's show. I'm joined with my co-host Gary, and let's get on to today's tentative temporary name of the Aphelion podcast. Hello there, champion of the video gaming realm. Are you looking to dominate, slay in the next big mobile game on the market? If so, grab a seat, fill up your cup. Let me talk to you about today's sponsor, King Arthur, Legends Rise. From the creators of the mega hit Marvel Contest of Champion, the graphics on this Hero Collector RPG are nuts. You can play this game on both PC and your mobile device, and it's going to take you through the journey of Arthurian legends, where you can build an ever-expanding party of knights, mages, rogues, and powerful iconic characters of the Arthurian legends. Take on quests, battle fearsome monsters, and take on the task of rebuilding the Kingdom of Camelot. This game is coming out soon, and you want to be on it day one, so you're not missing a thing. So use that link down below, and also wish listed on Steam to stay up to date on the latest news. If you want to play, then join the OBT, available on Google Play in select regions starting on March 27th. All right. Let's get down to business, y'all. This is going to be kind of different. One thing I've noticed is I make videos on character breakdowns, news, bringing you guys the latest leaks, tips, tricks, and how to dominate in Galaxy, and, just being amazing as usual. We know how that works in the Kyber Empire 25-8 situation around these parts. I just kind of want to sit down and talk about stuff that might not happen, but it's reasonable speculation. I see you guys bring it up, and just some things I want to talk about that doesn't make sense for a one-off video. So we're putting it all in this right here, right now. And what better way? Honestly, the reason why I decided to do this is because I have to play this game mode here. And it's like, all right, well, I might as well talk about something while I do my Conquest daily grind. Gotta farm the data crowns. I gotta do all the feats. We're less than a week away from Admiral Trent. Can't wait for the Conquest grind to be done. So let's go put some Conquest on the background, put it on auto, engaging gameplay, right? Capital games. So let's get on to the first topic that I have in mind here. We have about 6 or so, plus a bonus topic towards it if you care about the Lord of the Rings mobile game, and some of my thoughts after seeing what they've done since the last time I reviewed it. I want to talk about this. Galactic Legends Leia and the 40th anniversary for Return of the Jedi. Now, I gotta admit, you guys know about this whole Red 5 teaser thing that they've been doing since, I don't know, what was it, October, August? It started with August Burns Red. That's when it started. And I'll be honest, I was in on the joke, in on the fun, the puns for like the first 3 months or so. Then once we got the 5 months, I thought it was all going to line up on the 5th month. Red 5 will happen. I got to say, I lost my interest in kind of covering this. They put these little teasers out there. However, I do believe there's going to be something to come around the corner. People have been asking, hey, have you see that latest Red 5 teaser? They highlighted the Endor inside of this calendar. I fully expect something to happen. The 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi is coming very shortly in a couple months here. And we already got our first characters, as they said a few months ago, with the new Skip Guard Lando, as well as the Leia, BOSH Leia, that we got. I expect that we're going to get more coming soon. Return of the Jedi, one of the most iconic movies of all time, and obviously very important to Star Wars in and of itself. I fully expect that we're going to be getting something, and here are my thoughts in it. 2 things. I do think we're going to get a Red 5 at some point. I've been hearing, it's hard that this, I can't quite decipher if this is pure speculation from just folks or this is actual leak. I've been hearing things about allegedly Red 5 is going to be like a hybrid type of thing where Rey's could be a pilot of this, and then it turns into a Resistance Red 5, and then you might have a Rebel Red 5 as well. It was really weird. I didn't really talk much about it because it didn't really make sense to me, and I feel like that's maybe just some fan-made thing, but I'm going to put it on your radar. If it does happen, we can say, hey, that was right, Gary? And this guy's got a lot of great thoughts. Excellent podcast host, or whatever the heck we're doing right now. So I do expect the Red 5 to happen. I don't know if it's going to be in the vein of what I just said there. Maybe it will. Does it make sense? I don't know. That'd be weird if Galactic Legends raised a pilot. There's always the first, right? There's always the first when it comes to all this stuff. What I do expect, though, this is kind of a two-part conversation. I do fully expect a Galactic Legends to come soon. Now, Jabba came out. Everyone assumed that there is going to be a pairing in Jabba, and we're like, oh, Leia's going to come. Leia's not going to come just because it's a pair with Jabba, because usually we're familiar with Galactic Legends being released in pairs. However, just like I said, there's a first for everything. Jabba was not intended to be paired off with them. It was just a one-off Galactic Legend. However, I do still think we're going to get like some sort of Rebel Galactic Legend. My hunch for a while now has been that we're going to get a new Galactic Legends Leia. More specifically, since it's the 40th anniversary, I'm expecting, I don't know about you, Gary, I'm expecting a like Endor Leia. I want to point out this, in case you guys haven't seen it, this is like a video that was put into all the Galaxy Heroes recommended videos. They basically can retire off this video. Big shout out to Gerbil. I'm going to leave a link down below. I'm not going to just fully play the video. I want you guys to go watch. If you guys want to see a very analytic approach, we both come to similar conclusions, but my way of going about it is the goof around, tinfoil hats, chang bling and all that, and funny sound effects. There's a yin to a yang. If you want like a very analytical, like Bill Nye, the science guy, or whoever, I don't know who the big brain is out there nowadays, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Is Neil deGrasse Tyson an actual genius, or are they just memorizing a bunch of facts? I don't know. That's a whole different conversation for another day. But whoever the big Einstein of today, like if you want an Einstein approach to why Leia seems, or just some sort of rebel thing is bound to happen as the next Galactic, I highly recommend you check it out. Link down below. I mean, it makes sense, of course, right? They come to similar conclusions, just in different ways. You know, you need the clown and you need the science guy at the same exact time. But if you look at like what are the undergeared stuff across the entire game, what are people not upgrading, what are people just refusing to kind of engage with, you can see a variety of things like Ewoks, for example, a variety of other rebel stuff out there. So I expect we still need to get some more characters before it happens. I don't know, maybe they'll throw in Zori Bliss, and, you know, I don't know if that's going to be the case. But I do expect that we're going to get a new Galactic Legend. If I had to put money down, right now it's feeling like it's going to be something Rebel-oriented. Rebels is one of the biggest factions that we have in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Yet they don't have a Galactic Legend to pair off with them. Oh, gosh. All right, let's go put a new team. And this freaking, why isn't there a sim option? It's like, this is such a low engagement game mode. All right, hold on. Let's take a break here and put a new team in. I would not be surprised if we get an Endor Leia. We've been kind of speculating this for a long time now. It makes sense, right? With the whole anniversary coming out. And I would not be surprised if we see like an Endor Assault Leia based team. Galactic Legend Ewoks with an Ewok team. I know we laugh, but like in that chuckle you're doing right now, ask yourself, holy cow, this actually could happen. Ewoks are not really utilized for much in the game. I think it'd be kind of funny to see Ewoks just be like a Galactic Legend level based team, and like, you know, throwing in things like C-3PO, but I think C-3PO is a little too important with Commander Luke Skywalker right now. But when does that stop, CG, right? They can totally do something of that sort. So I think you guys get where I'm getting at. I definitely think we're leading up to a new Galactic Legend at some point. We're not really seeing much in terms of the new characters leading up to a Galactic Legend. Everything's just so all over the board. It's random Old Republic stuff, and then we get the Hutt Cartel stuff, and then randomly we get Zori Bliss, and then we're in the KESTIS stuff. I think we're all over the place. So it's not as evident as when like Rey came out, Supreme to Kylo Ren, Master Luke, Eternal, where you can kind of see they're laying down these little eggs along the way. We're not quite seeing that right now. But if I had to put a bet, as much as I want a Galactic Legend Mandalorian at some point, I think Leia, something just where everything is right now, I think that's going to happen. So I like this long form stuff. I can just rant about something. Let's go on to our second point of conversation. Hey, Gary, you know, thank you. You know, you're always, the insight, the additional thoughts are amazing. I can't wait till we get your suit replacement, because it's really annoying looking at that blank face you got going on there. Anyways, next point of conversation I have on the list here. So we've been talking a lot about Sith ships. Basically confirmed there's new Sith ships coming. We've made some videos on that. We think it might be MALICOS or Sith Empire Trooper piloting it, the Sith Fury class fighter. Question is going to be, when is it going to be released? How is it going to be? And getting the confirmation on who's going to pilot it. So the suspicion it might be a conquest ship. Usually they do this like one conquest character moving onto a ship. They kind of bounce back and forth. So if I had to put money down, it would be conquest. But the thing I want to talk about specifically is this: where are we heading here with the Sith fleet? Is there going to be a Sith fleet? I've been seeing a few things, people saying, you know, what if this is just like a Sith lifter unit? And, you know, I don't know where you'd plug it in. I mean, right now, Grand Moff Tarkin, Grand Emperor Thrawn kind of have decent fleets right now. So I don't know what they would do. Maybe we'd see maybe Grand Moff Tarkin and leftover Sith ships make sense. I don't know. It doesn't make a ton of sense in that regard, but I want to put it out there. Maybe this might be just a ship lifter unit. And we talked about the obvious thing that's been on people's minds for a long time. The Ravager in that one-off leak from way back when, the only thing that never came to fruition in that leak, Nihilus's Ravager. I think that's kind of the forefront thing out there. But I want to bring up some other stuff that we talked about. I still think Leviathan, Malic's Leviathan, isn't too far off the beaten path. You know, it's kind of like in that similar vein, like, you know, General Kenobi. It's kind of a legendary-ish type of capital ship. It also could be, I think, the most interesting idea that I saw. I didn't think about this. This is why I thought it'd be fun to bring it up here. Would it be out of this world, Gary, if General Pride comes? People would say, Sith Eternal Lifter win, Sith Eternal Lifter win, Sith Eternal Lifter win. What if General Pride comes? And kind of like Hux, gets a capital ship. And the core of this new capital ship is Sith. It's a Sith fleet. It's kind of wild, right? It didn't come across my mind. The first thoughts are Leviathan and Ravager, and heck, even maybe a Malgus capital ship, but that seems really crazy if they would put a Conquest unit behind a meta-defining fleet, likely. I don't know. I thought that was interesting putting it out there. We don't know. I think it's going to be one of those things where we probably won't know until September. They generally around like fall, like 2021 fall, September, or whatever it was, we got the Executor. Then it was like September, October 2022, we get the Profundity. I suspect we're probably going to see this sometime later this year what this next ship is going to look like. Kind of like last year, we got the Outrider in the early part of the year, and we're like, it's cool, but it's not really like, it seems a little weird. And then all of a sudden we saw Radis came out. They're like, okay, we're probably going to get a capital ship. And lo and behold, we got the capital ship not too far after. So I'm going to say we're probably going to get this Sith ship, this Fury class fighter, whether it's going to be Conquest Unit Marquee. I likely Conquest, if I had to guess. And we're probably not going to fully realize it until later on this year, assuming we're following the same tradition and patterns as the previous capital ship. So again, I don't know. Putting your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys think about this. Next part of here of our conversation, we're going to talk about Cal Kestis, Malicos, release date type of stuff. I actually did not think this. My assumption was we're going to get Cal Kestis, Survivor, the Journey event character. We're all waiting for sometime around the release of Jedi Survivor, which I believe is April 28th. Gary, can you do a quick fact check on that? Thanks, bud. But I'm looking right now at a few things. We're only 2 out of 5 requirements. I'm guessing we're today, as the recording of this pod, whatever this show is that we're doing right now, Arnold's ranting session. I don't think we're going to get a kit reveal today. That seems like they're doing like one every 2 weeks. I expect next week we're going to get Marin, Tarful, Saw Gerrera. We got to wait and see which one comes in what order. I mean, I guess we can go by the order they posted it. Who knows? That might not be the order of how things are going to go down. But if we're going by that, that means we have like another month and a half before we have all the requirements, because we have 3 more, and if we do it every 2 weeks, that's like 6 weeks of waiting, and that's going to be past Jedi Survivor. So we might be looking at possibly, who knows, maybe a May, June release. They remember Inquisitors, they dragged out Inquisitors. I know we kind of forgot how the Inquisitor thing worked. They dragged out Inquisitors for months, like 6 months of waiting, and then it happened in June. With this, I think people aren't as so focused on the timeline because there's a lot of hype around Cal Kestis, and people are excited to see these different characters building up different factions, as am I. I'm really curious about Saw Gerrera and a couple things, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, this could be a little bit longer than I anticipated. So I just say buckle down. People have been like, oh, is there a kit reveal this week? I don't think they're going to be banging out these kit reveals weekly. I think it's going to be bi-weekly, and if that's the case, by May, May, goodness, we're almost there already. Anyways, we're going to have the characters by then, and probably like a 2-4 week buffer until the event comes out. So it could be a summer release, guys. Gotta wait and see. I just thought I'd put it on your radar. Maybe we got to kind of pace ourselves a little bit here. We're going to kind of turn this conversation now into Malicos and the other requirements that we have here. So we're going to talk about Malicos, Night Sisters, Night Brothers, Saw Gerrera. It's just, again, some stuff I saw on Reddit, your comment section, my Discord, and stuff like that. I thought it was fun for a particular conversation. Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get Malicos as one of the requirements for Cal Kestis Survivor. However, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of hope, inspiration that, it's not out of the question that it can't happen. As we're seeing with the new Rise of the Empire editions. We're getting the new planets with the addition of Seer Junda as well as KESTIS. So they're kind of creating like these hidden paths, they'll kind of farm some other stuff. I don't think it's out of the ordinary to think something like this. I want to give a shout out to Darth Bale for putting this idea out there. I actually thought this was kind of legit for a second. I had to spend it 5 more seconds. Looks like, okay, it's not 100% legit here. But they could easily add a special mission on Dathomir. And this was the farm MALICOS, and here they kind of threw out the idea of KESTIS and Marin, which makes sense, right? They can totally do that. And this was something they had planned way back in the day when the first Hoth territory battles came out. They had this plan where they were going to kind of put in new stuff to farm on the special missions. They never did. I have a feeling with Rise of the Empire, they're feeling that dedication to update these special missions, updating new planets. I expect we're going to get Naboo later on this year. We've talked about that in the past, yada, yada, yada. But I think MALICOS could still happen. I think the issue that I think people are going to have, Reva's kind of putting I don't know. I've been seeing people like, I feel like it's 80% people are not happy with Reva. I'm kind of like in that camp. It's like, whoa, this was definitely, I feel like this is almost like a CG middle finger to me for hating on their Inquisitors all the time. They finally got the memo from me and they finally made him better. I feel like she's a bit overtuned, but I think people are just not incredibly excited about territory battle characters being this powerful, or maybe it's going to be an incentive to focus on territory battles more. That's a whole other point, but I just got that impression from a few comments I saw, as well as the comments on this Reddit post where the top one says, after the ridiculous powerhouse that is Reva, I don't want any more TB characters for a long time, as cool as MALICOS may be. Yeah, but I just want to put it out there. I don't think Reva is the one and done territory battle character for the rest of the time. Rise of the Empire is supposed to be a breathable, expandable thing, which is why I do like it in that aspect over the other territory battle models. They can frequently update of new planets, new things to farm, and I don't think it's too far off to think if MALICOS does come, gives people incentive to take their Night Sisters to the next level, gear them up more, relic them up more for that Dathomir special mission. Very much so. They got people that go to Relic 7 for that Reva mission, and then people start bumping up to Relic 8 to go do the special mission that requires Reva on that poop-looking planet. I can't remember what it's called, the Ring of Kafrine. I don't know what it is. All I know is I played the same freaking Ezra battle 500 times over on that planet. Despite beating them once, they show up again on a planet. Let's not get into it. Anyways, that's the point on MALICOS I want to throw out there. Talk about the other requirements that MALICOS wasn't a requirement. We want it to be. I want to talk about things like Saw Gerrera and Marin. So with Saw Gerrera, I've been seeing a lot of people ask, what do you think it's going to be for? Is it going to be for Mon Mothma? I hope it's not just going to be a Mon Mothma lifter. Would I be mad? No. I think Mon Mothma, compared to the other Starkiller requirements, I feel like Mon Mothma with Kyle Katarn, I'd say they're bad. I feel like they got hit the hardest with power creep, whereas Dash Rendar is kind of holding strong. Mara Jade's holding strong. Talon got better with the Sith Trio, Omicrons and stuff like that. And of course, Darth Malgus. Kyle Katarn kind of fell off a little bit. Not to say they're bad, but when Jawas can beat you, Wampa can beat you, it's like, hey, you're kind of not useful. I think it's mostly Wampa that kind of made this a problem for Kyle Katarn. So I wouldn't be too surprised, right, Gary, if Saw Gerrera shows up and lifts him up. What I hope that Saw Gerrera does is, my hope and dream is that we're going to see Saw Gerrera use leftover Rogue Ones or leftover Rebel characters. And maybe, let's say we call them, I don't know, what's a name off the cup? Rebel Extremists? I don't know. Something like that, where it's the more extreme part of their rebellion, which I think is always fascinating. You know, they always show the rebels in this happy, cheery, light, happy meal packaging. That's not how it always was, Chief. That's not how it always was. There's always those dirty folks that have to get down and gritty and have a more extreme view of a particular thing that people try to put rose-colored glasses on. So I think Saw Gerrera needs to be, I'd want it to be, let's put it that way, something for leftover rebels. There's so many rebels that are just leftover, like Hoth Rebel Soldier, or Hoth Rebel, no, Soldier. Scout's the one that we use with Kyle Katarn. Soldier's not being used at all. So, and CG likes to bring up these lifter units that force you to gear up characters that you don't use. Like, people weren't gearing up POW, Rebel Soldiers, Rebel Scout, and now people relic them up for those particular factions. So that's what my expectations if I had to put money down. I also want to throw this up there. I thought this was kind of interesting. Shout out to this individual right here. Boy, be hating every minute. That's a lifestyle to live right there. I actually completely agree with this. Chirrut Imwe should be an unaligned Force user. He is literally shown to be in that film. I think it's much more interesting to explore the Force outside of the polarity the Night Sisters, if Kylo and Rey can count them, Chirrut definitely should. I think the only difference between Chirrut and Kylo and Rey is that we actively see Rey and Kylo use the Force. We know they're Force, like it's very apparent that they're Force users. They're just not aligned with the Jedi or Sith. I think is what if I had to make a difference, that would be it. It's been a minute since I watched Rogue One. I know there's a suspicion that maybe Chirrut is kind of in touch with the Force to maybe some milder degree, and he's able to navigate the world fairly well, you know, with his inability to see. I think he's blind, right? He was right, Gary. He was blind. He was blind, right? So I think there is some hints that he was kind of like a Force to some extent. So I think it'd be cool to have an online Force tech. I think I would want to go a step further. I wouldn't be mad if we see Chirrut and Baze be used with maybe Saw Gerrera. Then the Rebel extremist idea doesn't really make sense for them because they didn't really seem that that extreme compared to Saw Gerrera. But when you look at the Rogue One faction or just the Rebels in general, Baze Malbus is kind of used, not like necessary for the Radis team, but you have like Chirrut Imwe, who was, it's hard to believe, was the meta powerhouse back in the day. It was like the first character to hit for like 100,000 damage when I first saw them. What was it, 2016? Yeah, I think it was December 2016. It was nuts, and now they're just not used at all. And it's got great stuff, tons of heals over times and whatnot. So not to say you can't use Chirrut with the Radis, it's just not typically used in that regard. So I think it would be great seeing Chirrut Imwe and Baze Malbus be thrown in with the Saw Gerrera type team. I don't know. Is that too crazy to think? I don't know. But what's not crazy to think, since I'm taking the conversation to Dathomir, is Gary is, boy, he's like entranced in this gameplay right now. That's Conquest Street. It's like the most engaging thing inside a Galaxy of Heroes at the moment. It's like, why have thematic raids and legendary characters and cutscenes when you can just play Conquest, guys? Like, this is what all the kids are talking about, not Fortnite. Anyways, I digress. We're on Dathomir. I'm going to talk about Night Sisters, Night Brothers. Another requirement that we're waiting for is obviously Merrin. Probably the one that most are excited for. It's got, you know, you got to pick your favorite children, and they're all golden children. But if I had to pick one, the one that I'm most excited about is definitely going to be Merrin. Night Sisters, they're such a weird faction. It's a faction that was so annoying back in the day. I guess it's kind of like a Kyle Katarn situation where they kind of fell to the wayside because of power creep, and you know, it happens to a lot of factions. But they've still maintained some degree of viability to be like kind of offensive cheese to work through Grievous teams and some other mishmash things. You can plug and play them and a variety of other stuff out there. So it's not to say they're garbage. It's just, you know, they're a little dated. And we fully expect Merrin to bring the Night Sisters up to a usable level. And then, you know, there be speculation where they're going to add a special mission on Dathomir. But what I really want to talk about is the idea of Night Brothers. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about, we need Darth Maul to be a little bit more important. Whether that's going to be an Omicron, who knows? Maybe they'll throw a Conquest Omicron. Wouldn't you guys love a Conquest Omicron that created a Night Brother faction? Jokes aside, please. I don't know if you made it this far. Don't dislike the video, please. I would love to see Darth Maul maybe get a little bit more use and maybe get like a Night Brother type attack. I'm surprised a few things. One, that Savage Opress is considered a Sith. That's number one. He was really a Sith. Number two, I'm surprised that there's not a Night Brother tag for them. Number three, I'm surprised there's not more direct synergy between Maul and Savage. I understand that Darth Maul technically is before his encounter with Savage, so I guess there's some lore things that could break it up. But when does Galaxers care about lore? I mean, freaking Jedi Knight Luke's not considered a rebel. Radis is considered a Rogue One. You know what I mean? So like, they can definitely bend the rules a little bit, or maybe just create like a new Robo-Legs Maul. I mean, I wouldn't be mad about that. But I think it's definitely time we get like the Night Brothers some sort of tag, and maybe heck, at least make Savage synergize with Mother Talzin and the crew. Wouldn't that be something? I mean, Savage is already, it's not like they're a bad character. They're so one of the more plug and play characters in the game. Like, I almost feel like it's mandatory for everyone to get Savage Omicron if you care about Grand Arena. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe my dreams and aspirations are bigger than what this game can afford. But I don't think it's asking for that much to create some sort of Night Brother faction with the leftover Night Sisters that you don't use. Because, like, let's be honest, Merrin's going to take someone's spot. Who's the weakest link in the lineup? If we're thinking like the traditional Mother Talz lineup where you got Talzin, who knows, Merrin might have a lead. We don't know yet. But when we think of the normal lineup, which is Talzin, Daka, Saj, Zombie, Spirit, or Talia, you can kind of tell which is the weak spot. It's that one where it's like, you can kind of put Talia or Night Sister Spirit. That's the spot that's the weakest. So the point is, you're going to have these leftover Acolytes, Initiates. What's the other one I'm just forgetting? Maybe Spirit gets kicked to the side. And you might want to create like a leftover team. Maybe that's what Marin's going to do. Guys, get ready for that. There might be a possibility. She's not meant to boost the Talzin version. It's meant to boost a new Marin version. You know, CG has this thing lately. It's not bad where it's making unused characters into a full brand new faction. Rebel Fighters, Rogue One. List goes on and on about these sub-factions within a faction. So you get multiple different teams. So that could very well be a possibility. I just would wish that MAUL and SWGoH had more direct synergy with each other to kind of show their brotherhood with one another, and some more synergy with the Dathomirians. I don't know. Is that too much to ask for? I don't think so. More MAUL love. People always get hyped when you talk about MAUL. That's what I'd put out there. All right, we have bonus section. Don't get too excited, Gary. Jeez, come on. Two things I want to talk about briefly. Number one, probably should have put this up earlier because I know people are still not going to get this message. One of my most commented things that I still get, and I understand the questions, even though I've talked about it a few times, to be fair, in live stream format, not everyone can make the live stream and be there at that specific time. Maybe I got to make like 500 posts, get Gary to send out a newsletter. People keep asking, where is the 2023 farming guide? Just to put it here in video format, as I've said before, it got completely derailed and stopped the second I saw a Crate Dragon raid get announced. And I guess, speaking of that, I guess to touch on that lightly, when's that going to come out? Well, we're going to get the next, looks like Road Ahead in April, where they said they said 100% they're going to talk more about the Crate Dragon raid in April. So I presume a Road Ahead in April. Does that mean it's coming out in April, May? It could be April, May, June. It's kind of up in the air. The point being is, it feels a little weird to make a farming guide when I do not have any confidence that it's going to be relevant. Now, it could, maybe Crate Dragon won't come out in October, and I could have definitely released a farming guide at that point. We're not in the loop. We don't know. I assume it's going to be sooner rather than later. That could be a completely wrong assumption. But when we know that the raid is such an important cornerstone of this game, being able to get end-game content, end-game rewards to boost your roster for, like, one of the main focus of the Supreme Leader Kyle Ren guide is the whole functionality around getting Relic 8s, and that's what excels in our guide. Relic 8 should not be a problem if you go through Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and that's going to be important for the Executor and stuff like that. However, they're pulling out the Challenge Rancor raid. It's not going to be a thing anymore. I actually just had a comment today saying, hey, should I upgrade the Bausch Leia Omicron for the Challenge Rancor raid? Would that help my game? Like, no, do not upgrade that Omicron for the Challenge Rancor. It might be good in the Crate Dragon raid. Time will tell. But you don't want to make any more big investments with Challenge Rancor in mind. They are completely removing it from the game. They said it served its purpose. They're done. Finito with it. So would Supreme Leader Kyle Ren still be the ideal path if I had to recommend it to a new player? I don't know. Supreme Leader Kyle Ren is still a top 3 Galactic legend in Grand Arena territories, great offensive powerhouse based. Even for early game, there's not a lot of ways for people to counter Supreme Leader Kyle Ren, as we've seen. We got the greatest free-to-play count of all time. Let's not beat around the bush. It's actually almost in Kyber 5. Believe it or not, we're knocking on the front door of Kyber 5, and we have like 3.3 million GP. It shows, I mean, maybe it's just the person playing. I don't know. I could make a Relic 8 Cup dominate it all, but I don't want to brag too much about me. It's about you guys and the stuff you're talking about right now. Long story short, I've delayed it until the farming guide, until I see what this Crate Dragon raid looks like. We have no idea what it's like, and my opinion can completely change. Jabba, going for maybe like Jabba might be the better thing for new players to do down the road. Of course, we just got to wait for the double drops to come later on this year, but that's not too much farther down the corner. So just to put it out there, I'm sure I'm still going to get questions about where's the farming guide, stuff like that. I expect that. But for those that haven't caught the memo, I've delayed it, and I'm not sure when. And I feel like any guide that you've seen that came out this year from anyone else, it's going to be completely outdated in a matter of weeks or months whenever this raid drops. So time will tell. But I already have some. Here, I want to put this out there as well. There was actually a great post. Someone's asking, what farming guide's the best? And I think the best comment was, it wasn't about me. And of course, we have a great farming guide, the best farming guide, but let's not brag about ourselves again here. The best advice was none. Pick what you want to do, focus on it. And the most important thing is you stay on target, you don't change path. And on top of that, do it efficiently. I think that's honestly the best advice. So if you feel lost, like, oh, I don't know what to do without Arnold's advice, the previous guide still works. The whole point of a farming guide is to put you on, I guess, a logical path that makes sense. But at the end of the day, almost everything has a value of some sort. Of course, some have more value than others, and that's where I think the farming guide conversation comes in handy. It's like, what's the best thing to go for? And that's, you know, Supreme Decao, Rancid, Eternal Executor is kind of the core of my thing for new players, and it works well. The most important thing is do what you want, but you're going to have fun doing. Let's say if Galactic Legends Ray, I'm not saying she's the best thing right now. She is getting some boost with some recent stuff in the game. But let's say Ray was the best thing. But you don't like Ray. Should you force yourself to farm her? Maybe you want to get Lord Vader. I don't have high remarks for the guy. It's still a Galactic Legend. Still has some degree of value. So hopefully that makes sense. What I'm trying to throw down right now is if you really need a farming guide, the old one is perfectly acceptable. It's still going to get you taken care of. It's still going to be great. Is it going to be the best one? That's the one I don't know down the road. But as long as you're staying on target and you're focusing on things that you like, that's truly the best way to enjoy the game, because ultimately in this game you want to enjoy the long run, because you're not going to catch up with me. You're going to need to somehow find 7 years or bajillions of dollars. Luckily, I had a function of long time and a bit of money spent. You're not going to catch up to me. So you need to play the game at your own pace. That's going to help you enjoy the game in and of itself. All right, let's get a new team in here real quick. The last thing I want to talk about, I figured I'd throw at the end. It's kind of Galaxy related. It's CG related. 1000%. Another question I have been seeing a lot is what's going on at the Lord of the Rings game. So for a lot of people that obviously play this game, you know, you obviously care and like this niche of game. You collect a few heroes, you press a few buttons, you call it a day. In regards to what the status of the Lord of the Rings game, it's still in soft launch beta. We made a video a couple months ago on it. Car in the top right hand corner. I actually think it's the most viewed. It's even more viewed than the trailer announce it for the game. But if you check out that video, you'll see my initial impressions, kind of get a gist for the game. I unfortunately was actually kind of underwhelmed and very disappointed. I thought, especially for a 2023 likely release mobile game, it was way behind on the times, like way behind. Like if it was 2012, okay, it was kind of passable. Yeah, I'm trying to like say nice things about it. I mean, it's cool to see Lord of the Rings getting a hero collector game. But okay, let's get the thoughts together. Good, I'm all over the place. This type of format is dangerous for me because I can just keep rambling on nonstop. With the Lord of the Rings game, I hope it does well. Like, I want more games to be successful. It'd be fun. I wouldn't mind playing the Lord of the Rings game, but it's like right now when I looked at it, I was like, I'm not too impressed by it. The art style, the cartoon is a little overly cartoony. It doesn't look well polished. The animation and sound look really clunky, and you know, I'm still waiting for it to get fully released before I pass final judgment on whether it's the game I'm going to want to play. I'm not as attached to Lord of the Rings as I am attached to Star Wars. And I think that's going to be a problem with Lord of the Rings. I'm sure they're going to find dedicated people that are the inverse, but they love Lord of the Rings more than Star Wars. People seem to forget. You know, you might love Star Wars Galaxy, but there's other people that play a similar game that think this game's trash. And it's probably because they don't have a core foundational love for Star Wars like you and I might have. So I just want to put it out there. Some people think this is the greatest game of all time. That's good. I'm glad you think that. But other people don't think that. So Lord of the Rings might appeal to more people than Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I think right now, out of the hero collecting games we have, you have like Marvel Strike Force, Raid Shadow Legends, Disney Source Arena. I'm losing track of all my thoughts. Right now, I feel like this Lord of the Rings game in the state it's in, I don't think it's going to be bigger or better than Galaxy Heroes, Strike Force, Raid Shadow Legends. I think it might be below that. It might be a bit better than Disney Source Arena. I could be wrong on that front, but from what I saw, I wasn't too impressed with it. And I actually looked up, like, what have they done? I actually just looked up some random people's videos. There are people that are covering this game daily. I don't see the value in that yet because the game's not out yet, and they're going to reset progress too. So it's not like you're missing out on anything. They're going to completely wipe all the accounts unless they change their stance on all that. But I looked at it, it's like, it doesn't look much different visually. And I remember they had their own like road ahead format, and they heard the feedback on the graphical look. Maybe they'll do something more with it. I hope what I saw wasn't the final thing, 'cause it still just didn't look great. And at the beginning, we had our sponsor segment. I kind of teased this a little bit. I was playing this game. It's a new hero collector game, right? And I was looking at this, and the whole time I'm like, why couldn't the Lord of the Rings game look like this? The whole Arthur game, the only downside is I know people, if you're not crazy about that type of IP, you're like, you know, whatever. But if it was Star Wars Lord of the Rings, I'm sure you guys would be juicing over it. And the game was cool, but I wasn't really so much focused on how good the game was. All I was focused on was like, why couldn't this be how Lord of the Rings looked like. The animations, the sound design, the way you navigate through the story. It wasn't just like a typical thing you have here. It's like you actually like are kind of like felt like Diablo, where you're kind of running through an open world type of format. So I gotta say, after seeing that game, the King Arthur game, it made me say about Lord of the Rings, oh man, it made me less excited about Lord of the Rings. But again, I'm trying to keep an open mind. I would love more games to cover. Star Wars Hunters looks like, if I had to guess, probably would be released around Star Wars Celebration. They've been kind of ramping up their soft launches. I think they just expanded to Australia. And once you're in Australia, generally we're not too far away from a global launch. We'll see how Star Wars Hunters does. I think they took way too long to release. I feel like the hype died. Remember, that game was announced in 2021. And it made it sound like it was going to happen soon. Then they led to the announcement 2 times that they're delaying the game, probably for the better, because I wasn't sure how they were going to monetize the game and how the game was going to be engaging and successful in the long run. I picked it up the other day. They definitely added some more noticeable things than Lord of the Rings, it felt like. Is it going to be enough to get the Star Wars community hype? I don't know, but I'm for sure going to be covering it. And I think on that bombshell, I'm going to wrap it up right there. Look at that. Gary, I always stop right when I hit the 200. So look at that. I talked about a bunch of, was probably useless information. It was just fun talking to you guys about this stuff, kind of bouncing some ideas back for seeing what you guys are talking about, sharing my thoughts where the game is and some other topics that are kind of related to it. Gary, give it up for him. Big round of applause for Gary. Fantastic host. I don't know if we're going to do more of this type of format, but I think it's just fun kind of sitting back, relaxing, kind of like having a mini podcast type of session. If you guys enjoyed it, let me know down below. Maybe we'll do it a little bit more frequently. It's not the most helpful stuff, but I think it's just fun kind of sitting back while you guys are going about your day and just talking about what's on Arnold's mind. Thank you so much for stopping by. And always remember that you're listening to the tentative temporary name of